Attention listeners! On October 29th at 5 p.m. Pacific, join WizBiz with Alex and Eric for a thrilling Halloween live stream on Twitch. We will be discussing Fiona and Cake and divining using a Ouija board and pendulum. It will be spooky fun! Don't miss out on the Halloween live stream extravaganza. Subscribe to our Twitch channel to stay updated and be part of the spine-tingling action. Visit twitch.tv/WizBizPodcast and hit that subscribe button. Be prepared for a Halloween experience like no other. We will see you there.
Time to get real! I want to see some crazy whiz-biz!
What's the magic made out of, Ding Dong?
I want to see some of that whiz-biz.
This castle is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable! Mathematical!
You feel like that?
Bacon pancake!
It's WizBiz with Alex and Eric. This is a podcast where we talk about Adventure Time. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Adventure Time Season 2, episodes 13 through 16. Those episodes are called The Pods, The Silent King, The Real You, and Guardians of Sunshine. My name is Reverend Eric, and...
I am the Archduke Ferdinand Magellan Alex Bolin.
Yes, and we are... one or more of us is not wearing a butt plug. We established that before the episode started.
Well, let's think about that for a second. Do you wear a butt plug? Or would we not be using a butt plug?
I feel like
When something's in you, does it count as being worn?
I feel like do you wear a retainer?
Yeah, but do you wear a tampon? I think you use a tampon.
You use a tampon because they're disposable.
All right, audience at home, if you have any opinions on this, please let us know. More importantly...
Do you wear a hearing aid?
I think you could wear or use a hearing aid.
I bet you could wear a hearing aid and use a hearing aid.
I think the
feel
ones that
like-
hang on your ear, you're wearing.
Okay.
But the one that's in your ear, I think you'd be using.
Okay, so maybe with a butt plug, maybe there is a casual method of utilizing one that is wearing, but maybe there's also an active way of using one that is using.
Got it. The ones that have like the raccoon tail at the end, you're wearing.
Okay.
The ones that are just like a bunch of globes in a row, you're using. I have news, audience at home.
Oh man, this is really, really exciting news.
It is.
Can I start?
Sure.
Because this is our most tragic and consternating segment that we've been doing, I guess, for probably the past 4 episodes, which is called "Hey Alex, where's BMO?"
Where's BMO? And I can tell you where BMO is.
Where's
He
BMO?
is sitting back on the mixing board where he belongs.
He looks so zen and peaceful, and it's just so great to see the little guy.
So there is a story about how he returned, though.
Okay.
So I cleaned my room, as you can tell. Well, I rearranged my room. It's less dirty.
It reminds me of those Warner Brothers cartoons where they clean the room by like sweeping everything under a rug, and then they just put the rug down. And
Yeah.
the rug turns into a big mound.
But you should have saw how much shit I threw out. This actually
Okay.
is a lot more.
It looks a lot better. I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
No, it's fine. There's still much work to be done. I just got lazy this weekend. But so while cleaning my room, I found a bag on my kind of catch-all desk, and within the bag was BMO.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've picked up that bag, I've checked that bag, and I find it difficult to believe that I could have missed BMO being inside of it. Fine. BMO is returned. Here is the added weirdness. Last night, in this very seat, in this very room, I was trying to record with John for John and Alex Hate Stuff.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't get my mic to work.
Uh-huh.
I checked all the things. I'm like, Skype says I'm sending data. I finally check the mixing board because I never touch anything on there. It's like, that would not be the reason.
Okay.
It has to be a software issue.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what was on the mixing board other than BMO?
No?
Mic number 1 was completely unplugged. The XLR cable unplugged.
Well, how did that happen?
I didn't do it.
BMO did it.
I don't know. Like now I'm starting to think this isn't like a fun thing. Like I think I'm experiencing poltergeist activity is what's happening.
Yeah, I guess podcast related. Yeah, it's a podcast geist, a poltercast. It's a poltercast.
Poltercast. Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
No, I think that's like the Tyson Foods has the poltercast. Yeah, so apparently there's like some kind of demonic force in my apartment that has unplugged my XLR cable, returned BMO, put it in a bag for some reason, stole my prayer ring for an upwards of 2 years, and I don't really understand what's going on.
Do you think maybe you have a mysterious person living in your attic?
Well, I don't have an attic. I have. There is a person that lives. There's literally a person that lives in like the house, and I'm the weird person that lives in the basement. So I don't know. Anyway, if I end up like speaking in some kind of like Eldritch tongue and sacrificing things, you know what happened.
I feel like if you manage to do that without us trying a weird ritual on an episode, I'm going to be extremely disappointed in all the weird rituals we've tried so far.
Yeah, I mean that's really what doesn't speak to you as a wizard. That like I could just by accident,
you just accidentally get possessed.
Accidentally get possessed, and you've been trying your little tuchus off. Hey, speaking of a name that kind of sounds like a demon, Zergiog.
Zergiok. Yeah, but we have to talk about the pods first. We have to go through these in order, but we can go fast.
Oh, is that not the first one?
The first one is the pods.
Oh, for some reason I wrote that down. Oh, no, I got it. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I had a bunch of notes before that about which episodes we're doing this season. Oh, we should actually tell everybody. Well, I mean, we told them what episodes we're doing. But this is our only, in quotes, skip episode for this season.
Well, we might have a few other episodes that we kind of cram in.
Yeah, but this is our, like, catch-up one.
Yeah. So we decided that in order to get to the really good, juicy Adventure Time parts, you know, because when we set out to do this, we wanted to talk about occult influences in occult influences in Adventure Time.
I think you were right the first time. I think we were setting out to do occult influences.
Yeah, I think so.
I remember that on the concept statement that we wrote up.
But we were getting a little disappointed with season 2 because there's a lot of I mean, you know, they're entertaining episodes, but they're filler episodes in season 2 that don't really affect the arc of Adventure Time, don't really get into kind of the underlying weird esoteric lore of it. And so we decided we would cram a bunch of episodes of Adventure Time into one episode of the podcast so we wouldn't have to make up so much crap about like butt plugs and stuff to fill up all the extra time.
Yeah, and if you don't know what that means I was smart enough to edit that beginning out, but I'm probably not gonna, so you'll know. All right, so speaking of plugs, pods of ice cream, segue?
Yeah, I mean, episode 13, The Pods, it's basically an episode about beans and ice cream and pigs and magic wands. I think one of the fun things about this episode is it makes a lot of references to like old fairy tales, you know, so there's a reference to Jack the Giant Slayer, there's a reference to the Three Little Pigs. There's a reference to probably some other stuff that.
So you refer to that as Jack the Giant Slayer, huh?
Yeah. What are you supposed to call him?
I would have said Jack and the Beanstalk.
Well, sure. Jack the Giant Slayer has a story where he goes up a beanstalk.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, this isn't like a correction thing. It's that's weird because if I were to refer to that, I would say Jack and the Beanstalk, and you'd say Jack the Giant Slayer. That's an interesting like. I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah,
I like words.
You know,
I'm interested in them.
Jack the Giant Slayer has I think a number of stories associated with him. You know, like 7 with One Blow is one of them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
I know the one where he like goes up the beanstalk and there's like a cow, and
yeah, he trades as a cow for some magic beans, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and then he goes up into a cloud, and one of the clouds is made out of ice cream. The other cloud is made out of like adorable pigs and silly outfits.
And then there's one that's just filled with magic glitter wands.
Yeah, glitter wands. Yeah.
I
remember reading that in Grimm's Fairy Tales when I was a kid.
I did enjoy how the magic wands were, you know, at first they're just like, oh, they just do glitter and rainbows, but then when the pigs get a hold of them, they turn into weapons.
Yeah, as is the way. I mean, obviously, this episode is like a direct parallel to George Orwell's Animal Farm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I don't even need to break it down. It's so obvious.
Oh man,
that I think
blindingly obvious.
Yeah, when the pigs get those magic wands, you're really like, oh wow, it's just like that part in Animal Farm.
We're gonna have a role reversal thing here, like the human. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's obvious. So, I mean, really, the literary influences on this. So here's what was fun about this episode. I really liked the weird kind of triple bluff, and he's like, hey, look, it's a gnome night. No, man, that's just a frog dressed like a gnome knight. No, I'm actually a gnome knight that was turned into a frog. I was like, that's such a dumb it's almost like a who's on first kind of thing.
It is. And he also just like has, yeah, I mean, the setup is just so dumb. You know, the gnome knight is like, I have to guard these magic beans. Yeah, I mean, the episode is pretty simple. There's a lot of ice cream.
Well,
there's some lactose intolerance.
Let's ask about the all right. So the knight's quest is to guard 3 magic beans, one of which is evil, 2 of which are good. I feel like, and they kind of touch on this, but mathematically, that fucker should have planted those beans a while ago. You're making 60.
Finn, you're terrible at math.
Fine, but that frog probably was great at math. Gnomes are famous for their math.
Right, that's true.
That's a 66% chance. That's 66% good to 33% evil.
Okay, now
with a dot and a 3s.
I'm wondering. Okay, so the ice cream pod was obviously good.
Maybe not. What if that ice cream pod was grown in Asia, where a lot of people have lactose intolerance?
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so the ice cream pod. Okay, and the wand pod. I'm not sure if it's good or bad, but the pig pod was obviously bad.
Was it, or were they just spoiled by the human and the magical dog?
They turned violent.
But they learned no discipline from their parents. They're fresh out of the pod, and then Finn and Jake are just like, oh, look at these adorable things. Do whatever you want. We're going to go to sleep. You're an hour old.
Okay, good point. So maybe
straight it is.
Maybe the wands were the bad pod.
I mean, I think it was the ice cream. You know, you get fat, you can get diabetes. If you're lactose intolerant, you can get the runs. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Or maybe the bad one was the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. Okay.
I do love that. Where the solution to this is that Finn makes them fill out a survey
to find out if they're evil.
Draw adorable pictures of ice cream of like, is there anything you're like allergic to or whatever, and that becomes the end result of you shoot them with ice cream and they explode into like butterflies and flowers.
Yeah, I was surprised. There was a lot of death in this episode. The gnome knight dies, and every single one of the adorable pigs gets killed. Like, Finn kills a lot in this episode.
Now, I did watch this episode really recently, but the gnome knight died?
Yeah, right after Finn accepts the quest.
He turns back into a gnome.
He turns back into a gnome, falls down dead, and dissolves into a pile of ash and blows away.
Oh, I think I may have written a note during that part, because I saw him get old and turn back into the thing, and I think maybe I looked down to write a note.
Maybe it was really traumatic and you blocked it out.
I mean, probably. I've had a lot of trauma in my life, and
especially regarding knights.
Yeah, and pigs and adorable outfits. My whole, so I was diagnosed with CPTSD. That's real. This is where the joke starts. And talking to my therapist, I was telling him about when I was a little kid and how my parents took me to that farm and they had pigs dressed up in adorable outfits. And then my other brother, the one you never heard about, they whacked him with a rock real hard. Just tossed him over there. And I watched those pigs eat him for like 45 minutes.
I think that's an episode of Justified.
Wait, am I Timothy Oliphant?
You are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's my life then. Yeah, because then later I was friends with Boba Fett and Din Djarin. That's me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool.
You also have you have a tiny green sidekick.
Swearingen, cocksucker. Got it. That's all I know about Timothy Oliphant. Yeah. So then the episode ends, and
yes.
it is a proof of concept.
Yeah.
That our skipping these episodes to not focus on them was good, because there's not a lot going on here.
Yeah, I don't even have any trivia for that episode. There were no interesting voice actors. There was no interesting trivia. There were no characters who are going to show up later. There's nothing in this episode that connects it to anything else. Shall we do a segment? I have lots of segments.
Oh, you have lots of segments. Yeah, let's do a segment. Because I'm going to say, I've got like a third of one segment. So, yeah.
The first segment is going to be the Steph Quick pre-memorial Shiny Rock quiz show.
Oh, I didn't tell you? We don't have to say pre anymore.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I murdered her.
You have to cut that part out. You can't say that on.
I wasn't threatening to murder her. I was saying it happened in the past, which makes it legal.
Okay, so in this, as we discovered last time, some of the words that Steph wrote down on the list might not have been words that we used.
According to her, she put 2 fake outs in.
Okay.
And then, but one of, and then one that I think she just said the wrong word.
Okay, so in this, so there's going to be an additional twist to this.
Okay.
So there will be a word that you did not use.
Okay.
One of them might be one of Steph Quick's fake out words.
Okay.
And one of them will be a word that relates to one of the episodes that we'll be discussing.
Ooh, fun.
Okay.
Okay, I
All
like
right.
it.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm very
Okay.
ready.
Word number 1, Philippendus.
Philippendus is... I brought it to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And Philippendus... Oh, it means like kind of dangling like a thread.
Yes,
'Cause
or
you-
dangling from a thread,
Because
perhaps.
you figured that it Philly like filament is what happened on the
Yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Word number 2,
Yes.
hypersphere.
I didn't bring this to the show. I'm sure of that. And a hypersphere is a... I don't know. Oh, I know, because you gave me a hint. I think I got it. A hypersphere would be like either a fourth or fifth dimensional object that we would refer to as a sphere in layman's terms.
Yep. You
And that was
got
a
it.
pure guess just based on because
Oh,
you
man,
said
yeah.
this one was from an episode. So I also figured out which one you brought to reference in an episode.
Yeah, that's the one that is referenced in episode. This is so if hypersphere specifically is 4-dimensional.
4, okay.
But you can have spheres of more than you can
Yeah.
have n-dimensional spheres, but a hypersphere is 4-dimensional. Okay, next, axillary.
Axillary. Okay. I already forgot the instructions you gave me before we started.
Okay,
But axillary is related to armpits.
yes,
I did bring it up on the show, but it wasn't a shiny rock.
Yes, I don't know if that was one of the fake out terms, but I know that you did bring it up on the show, and axillary is related to armpits.
Yeah.
Well done.
Because I think I made a horrible joke about like armpitphilia, axillophilia. And then I went, that can't possibly be right. And we looked it up.
Yeah. I discovered today that I have axillary vents in my new raincoat.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, it's very, very breezy. Okay, word number 4, eucatastrophe.
Oh, easy. Eucatastrophe is the opposite of catastrophe. It's a good thing that happens, coined by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yes. The eu prefix is from Greek and
Yeah,
it
like
means
euphoria.
good. Yeah. All right, and word number 5.
Oh, how many are there?
Just 5.
I should probably get one wrong.
Maybe there are 6. There are 5.
Okay.
Word number 5, pulchritudinous.
Oh, that's easy. That's from pulchra, meaning beautiful. It's a beautiful person. Pulchritudinous is beauty. Yeah.
But and
did I bring that to the show? Oh, that's interesting. Would I? God, this is a tough one because that's a word I know from freshman year Latin.
Mm-hmm.
Would I have used that on the show? I'm going to say I did not bring that as a shiny rock.
You are 100% this time.
Fuck yeah.
You got...
That was tough though, because that easily could have been a shiny rock.
So one of the things I like about pulchritudinous is it's one of those words that doesn't sound like what it means.
No, it sounds gross.
It sounds awful.
Yeah.
And another one that another one of my favorite words that doesn't sound like what it means is bucolic. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It sounds so awful, but it means like a pleasant pastoral setting.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so those are okay. That was the segment. You scored 100%.
You know what's interesting about that? And you scored a weird memory that was popped up for the first time in 20 years.
Yes.
I went to the New York Renaissance Fair with my buddy Fred. Fred prided himself on having a huge vocabulary. That was like his thing. And back then, I was trying to hide being smart because all that does is hurt you to be smart in high school.
Yeah.
So we go to the fair and he's hitting on this lady that's part of the fair. And she says something about like her pulchritudinous or like being anyway, she says that word. She's like, do you know what that means? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, I do. And it was one of those moments of him being like, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here because you're trying to, have sex with her. And I wanted to show you that I knew a word that you didn't. And I remember that to this day because I felt like a fancy man. Turned my whole life around. Did it? And by that, I mean, I forgot about that for 20 years.
Well, that's the bucolic thing. Like I know where that word finally stuck in my head. Like, it would be one of those words where I'd see it and I would be like, I can't remember what this means.
Yeah.
But I know where it finally solidified. And it was I was reading Dorothy Sayers' novel A Clutch of Constables, which is a great mystery novel. And she uses that word a lot in there. she describes Constable's art as bucolic. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And I went and looked it up. And I think I might have used a dictionary to look it up.
So the reason, the way I remember bucolic, and this is, if anybody at home wants to stick it in their head, is if you picture kids' drawings of like a nice landscape and like the trees look like broccoli. So broccoli bucolic. No, I'm serious. Like that's how that sticks in my head.
No,
Yeah.
I'm laughing because that's a great use of images as mnemonics, and I, as you know, I'm a big fan of that.
I have here. I'll teach you some other mnemonics because I have very little.
Okay.
You remember how to bury? You remember how to spell cemetery because you bury 3 e's in it. So it's sem-e-ter-y.
Oh, I always remember how to spell cemetery because I remember how Stephen King misspelled it in Pet Sematary. And I'm like, that's not
that's a
how
good one.
cemetery.
Yeah.
It just looks like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think most of my image-based mnemonics have to do with foreign languages, like learning, especially Hebrew vocabulary. I have a lot of image mnemonics for Hebrew vocabulary, which are weird.
The other one I remember is stalactites, are the ones on the ceiling because tights hang down.
Oh, stalactites because it's got a C for ceiling, and stalagmites because it's got a G for ground.
And that's a good one.
Yeah. So, on to our next episode. Episode 14, The Silent King. This is the only episode that I was sort of thinking might deserve a little bit more treatment, just because the antagonist of the episode, Zergiok, is a recurring character. But he's kind of a bullshit recurring character.
Yes.
And I mean, let's face it, this episode is about spanking. It is definitely a kink episode, or an episode that deserves a little bit of kink discussion.
Yeah. This is weird for me to be on this side. But I think after the way we opened the show, maybe we don't like really hang on the whole kink part of this episode.
So you want to skip the spanking?
No, we
and
can talk about it. I'm just saying, like, let's not like make a whole big deal of it. Wait,
Okay,
but before we talk about that, if you want to talk about it, I want to tell you about Zergiog because the actor behind that has a storied history on Adventure Time.
Okay.
So that actor is Davy Johnson.
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode where Finn shaves his head and he changes his name to Davy?
Yeah.
So the other voice actors in that episode are the members of a podcast called The Bone Zone. Randy
Really?
Mickey, the other guy, and Davy. Davy left the show years. I mean, the show's a million years old at this point. But I guess Pendleton or somebody liked that podcast. So yeah, Davy became like a regular thing. But like literally, Finn dresses as Davy looks in real life.
Yeah.
Like Davy's like a bald guy with a mustache. Like he literally dresses like Davy Johnson in the show. So Zergiog is Davy Johnson.
Yeah. And Zergiok is he is kind of a dangerous.
Is it
villain.
Ock or Og?
Ock.
Ock.
Zergiok, and it's spelled with an X.
Oh yeah, no, I got like twice wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I thought was interesting about this episode is it is definitely an episode of like culturocentrism, where Finn and Jake are introduced to a culture that they cannot understand. The goblins are basically the goblins have a very weird and alien approach to how things are supposed to work. The king has all of these rules. If the rules around the king are broken, people near the king are punished. And that's just how it goes. But Finn at the same time is like, I don't want somebody else brushing my teeth. I don't want somebody else chewing my food. I don't want to be stopped from being, effective. But the whole culture is sort of based around the king being sequestered, people doing all these things for him. And my feeling is, like, if the king was forced to do any of this stuff, that's why people would be punished.
Yes, what you're saying is correct. And I'm trying to say this delicately. And I mean that. This isn't like me about to say something horrible. Is, like, in Harry Potter, there was an accusation that the goblins are Jewish stereotypes.
Yeah.
Like, so much to the point that their pictures almost look exactly like... I'm not saying that that's what's happening in this episode. But this is a group of people that are based around arcane ritual, obsession with a book, the reading of the book, the understanding of the book. It's and Hook knows, like, it's kind of...
Well, except, first of all, they have bat noses. A lot of them have bat noses. And the other thing is, only the king has to follow the rules.
No, the other ones do too, or they get punished as like an Old
But
Testament
all the
god.
rules, all of the rules revolve around the king in
No,
particular.
but if the king doesn't do it, the people suffer.
Yes.
So they're really, but that's what I'm
They're
saying.
invested in the king following
This
the
is
rules.
very Old Testament to me.
But it's not like everybody has to have somebody else brushing their teeth. Only the king does. But yeah, I guess
Yeah.
in a way it does feel sort of Old Testament.
No, I'm very pro Jewish people. That's like my favorite of the three Abrahamic religions. Like my favorite people. I grew up around them. Their food's great. Their culture's great.
Their
I
language
was
is
like,
great.
I just kind of felt like maybe, like I think if somebody that gets easily offended watched this episode,
Mm-hmm.
there's an argument to be made. And mostly it's on the back of the J.K. Rowling. Very obviously, there's some weird
Yeah,
Jewish
yeah.
stereotypes, which to be fair, she probably just stole from Tolkien.
Okay, so some other things about this episode. The Royal Game Archive looks like a giant Mo.
Oh, I didn't pick up on
It
that.
looks like a really giant bima that's sort of built into a room,
Oh,
which was kind of
I don't
cool.
think I really put that together. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
This is the first appearance of the Jake suit.
Yeah, that I made a point of, not to say that this episode is worth the full discussion, but that is a major thing that comes back. Well, maybe not major thing, but it's a thing that comes back.
Speaking of, and also just to bring back the axillary thing.
Yeah.
My deodorant smells awful. I really need to switch deodorants. Like I went like this to demonstrate the BMO thing, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh God, that's
What
my
what
deodorant."
what flavor deodorant do you use?
It's one of those newfangled Old Spice ones.
Oh, those are gross.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
just
know.
even just Old Spice is gross. It just got like a.
I like the Old Spice, the really old fashioned one, because my dad used to use that as an aftershave, so I really enjoyed that smell. But all of their other ones, like holy crap, did they have people without noses making these scents?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Here's a quick, not shiny rock, but the term for that is anosmic.
anosmics.
Is when you can't smell. Yeah.
They have axillary anosmics making the deodorant over. At
I mean,
Old Spice.
frankly, that's probably a good person to choose. Maybe. I don't know. Who cares?
Okay, so I really love the ear clops idea,
Oh, your clops is really
but
fun.
the fact that they are so easily defeated is just hilarious. Like you
Yeah,
just
and
make
it's
loud
known,
noises.
and this is very D&D of that, of like you knew their weakness. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows you don't use ear clops unless they have earplugs
earplugs.
in.
Yeah, it's just sort of like duh, Zergiak. The other thing is Michael J. Anderson is the voice of Gummy. He's the man from Another Place from Twin Peaks. The arm.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's the voice of Gummy.
Which one was Gummy?
Gummy was the
Like the lead subservient
yeah,
goblin?
like the major domo.
Okay,
the main helper goblin that Finn is talking
Gotcha,
to all the
yeah.
time. And also I was reading the Adventure Time wiki article for this episode, and it was cut from the episode, but supposedly this was going to be the first mention of the Mushroom War.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would make sense. I mean, they got like an ancient book there,
Yeah.
like teaching the, yeah.
Which is interesting because I feel like the Mushroom War has already been mentioned, but maybe not. I in my free time I've been watching season 8, and there's lots of Mushroom War stuff. in
I
season
don't
8.
think the Mushroom War has been referenced yet.
Okay.
I'm not even sure if we've seen Ooh with the chunk taken out of it yet.
That's coming up.
Okay. The other thing about this episode is that now canonically the inside of Jake smells like vanilla, which
Because
is
he
something
was cursed.
Yeah, there's something very pleasing about. I like a throwaway to a story we're never going to hear. I'm
Yeah,
just like, oh yeah, it's
yeah.
cursed by a wizard. Yeah, like why did the wizard curse you? Like, was it a cookie wizard? Like what happened here? And we're never going to know.
Cookie Wizard. I want a Cookie Wizard.
I mean, you can just like make cookies. We have electricity and like recipe books and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in the land of Ooh in the post-apocalypse, you probably need some wizard magic. But for us, it's like you just need like a bag of chips and then to tell you how to make the cookies on the back.
Okay. Now, is that all for that episode?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's your turn to do a segment.
All right. Okay. No, so I do have two words. One is a kind of less like Urban Dictionary, but not like the really bad Urban Dictionary.
Okay.
Schrodinger's douchebag.
I think I might know what this is.
Oh, please.
I do know that on one of the Discords I'm on, we talk about Schrodinger's joke, which might be sort of the same.
Oh, I
thing.
believe. Yeah, please go for it. I
So
believe you're right
this
there.
is where you make a joke or where somebody makes a joke that might be, off color. Like maybe it's racist, or maybe it's sexist, or maybe it's, homophobic or something of that nature. And they wait to see how the audience responds before they say like, "Oh yeah, that wasn't a real
Exactly
joke. That was
right,
just
yeah.
blah 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 blah." Or if the audience responds positive, they're like, "Oh ha ha ha,
Yes.
I know, right?" Yeah, Schrodinger's douchebag.
Yeah, they refer to it as Schrodinger's douchebag in this. Very quickly, it's basically what you just said.
Yeah, yeah.
A guy who says offensive things and decides whether he was joking based on the reaction of people around him.
Yep.
I think you almost have that
Yeah.
like fucking verbatim.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Latin guy, verbatim.
What about him?
Yeah. Look, I do received, not classical. I have no idea which one it was. The other word is, do you know what a mondegreen is?
Mondegreen.
Yeah, Mondegreen.
Mondegreen. That sounds like either Middle or Elizabethan English. Mondegreen. I'm going to guess that it is some sort of layabout who exists in a bucolic setting.
No.
Look at that Mondegreen sitting over there in that mud patch and not working for the king.
No. You're very far off, though. I like you
Damn.
fit in bucolic. Mondegreen is a mishearing or misinterpretation of a phrase in a way that gives it a new meaning.
Oh.
So, the example they give is the Bonnie Earl of Murray, which is a Thomas Percy poem. The lines are, "Ye highlands and ye lowlands, oh, where hae ye be? They hae slain the Earl of Moray and Lady Mondegreen." But what it actually is,
Laid him on the green.
Yes. So it's one of those things where it's like in mishearing, the other one is that the Wikipedia references is in the modern,
In the parlance
English
of our
is
times?
no. English's acceptance of Spanish a little bit more. There's a thing that the Star Spangled Banner is Jose, can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is because who the hell says "oh say"? That's
right.
not a. And the other example that's given is the Jimi Hendrix, the "excuse me while I kiss this guy."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
instead
that
of
one.
"kiss this guy." So those are mondegreens.
I like it. Mondegreen.
Oh, we did skip one thing about Silent King. Sorry. Just
We're
throw
going back.
Very quick though. Why is it called Silent King? Because that guy sure jumped around screaming and spanking people. Finn certainly
I
talked.
think it's a really. I think the name might be kind of a deep cut. I think a big part of it probably. Oh, because the king has to remain silent when there is a thief, right?
Yeah, but he talks through the whole episode.
Sure, but the rules are there. The rules prevent
Yeah,
the king
all
from
right.
speaking to his people.
Yeah, I just like
So the king
it
is-
could have been like a rulebook king or something like that. Yeah.
The name of the episode was originally going to be Finn the King.
Finn the King. Would have
But
liked that. Yeah.
I like the Silent King. It actually has a very esoteric feel to it. It sort of reminds me of like the Fisher King or
Yeah.
something of that nature. So I do like the name.
I
But
remember.
yeah, it does seem like a stretch.
Did you have that thing in your elementary school where you would say like, "Oh, you know who's it's that guy. He's like the king of kung fu. I mean, he's like the kung fu king." Like you try to like say fucking in front of people because you're
Yeah.
like 6 and you think it's like a TE moment. It's good times. So before we start the next episode, Eric, I would like you to tell the audience what you're thinking right now because Eric is staring befuddled, bemused.
Okay, all right. So we do have adult beverages while we're recording, and today Alex offered me one of his hard seltzers. But these are the new White Claw Surges, which are basically like the malt beverage of hard seltzers. They're 8% alcohol. They actually have a lot of flavor. Like this is the cranberry one, and it really kind of punches you in the face with
Yes.
cranberry when you first drink it. So it's actually nice that it has flavor because the normal White Claws are very mild.
Yeah, they kind of like just wave a fruit over it. Yeah.
And usually, so I try to pace myself, and usually when I figure we're about halfway done with the episode, I also open a beverage. Alex just opened his second surge, and I'm looking at mine, and I'm being like, I have like a quarter of this thing left still. What am I? So I'm just pondering, like, do I really like this?
Yeah. So the thing with Surge, to the audience at home, is that I was telling Eric before this, the episode recorded, is it's like a Stockholm syndrome kind of thing where you start to drink and you're like, I mean, it's not bad, I guess. Like, I can deal with it, whatever. It's just like as a laugh. And then like when you're done, at least for me, like I kind of want another one, even though I didn't really like it. And now it's like I kind of I like simultaneously love and hate it. And it's, yeah. So, anyway, I have severe mental health issues.
Well, my next beverage is going to be a Hopworks Overland IPA, which is a beer that I'm really fond of and I'm looking forward to, and I think it's going to be a refreshing change. But vastly different.
Nothing says better than a month and a half old beer.
Hey, it's been in your fridge. That
Yeah,
fridge is cold.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It's in a can.
Yeah, sure.
Plus, it's an IPA. They're made to age.
So, in the next episode is The Real You.
Do you remember what kind of T-shirt Princess Bubblegum was
I
wearing?
couldn't
right at
figure
the
it out.
opening?
It was like an X and an O or something. Like it was
No,
like,
right at the opening, right at the beginning.
Oh, no, I don't.
It's a rainicorn.
is
She's
it?
got a great rainicorn T-shirt with
that's
like
awesome.
the head and the tail kind of coming out of the front. I totally want a rainicorn T-shirt.
Maybe that's what we should do, because we need better like episode art, like better show art. Maybe we both get like really like age inappropriate Adventure Time shirts, and we like take a picture of ourselves in it, like doing like the double thumbs up, just be like the most middle-aged picture ever. We can like wear Crocs and like shorts with cargo pants pockets.
I only have one answer for that.
No.
Werewolf Queen. The answer is always Werewolf Queen.
Yeah, it's very true. That's what I learned in college. So this episode is actually kind of a fun one, but I don't think there's much substance to it.
Yeah.
There's some good beats. One of the only kind of hidden things is they go to the library at one point.
Yeah,
And,
I think it's the first appearance of the library and the first appearance of Turtle Princess, possibly.
yeah, well, I mean, more importantly than that, or maybe not more importantly, but the chairs they sit in have the cosmic owl as the
Oh shit! Really?
the
I
head-
did not notice that.
whatever you call that, the head rest,
Headrest. The
head area of
Yeah.
the chair,
Uh-huh.
whatever I don't know what that's
like
called.
the top of the backrest
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Because we haven't really seen the Cosmic Owl yet, have we?
I don't think I think he flew through one episode so far, but like
So he would have been in a dream episode.
yeah, I don't think he's been named. He certainly hasn't spoken. I think there was just like a quick blow by kind of deal.
So a few things I really like about this episode. It has some of my favorite background characters, or favorite supporting characters. Peppermint Butler, I really like, and Chuskus is one of my favorite.
What? No love for Chet? I don't know if Chet even comes back, but I just kind of laughed at
Chet is in like 30 episodes.
Oh, really? No, but I
He
mean, does he
comes back
speak?
Yeah, he speaks
Oh, no
and
shit.
everything.
Okay.
He comes back over and over and over again. He is one of the blandest.
Yeah, exactly. He's so forgetful.
I never want him to ever win one of our votes on who is the best.
Oh yeah, by the way,
background
we have to
character.
remember to do that this time, because
I know,
like
we
there's
have
so
to,
many
'cause there's
episodes. I'm
so
going to
many
write it
episodes,
down
so
on
much
this piece
stuff.
of paper.
Okay, good idea.
I'm going to write the word win,
Okay,
so I don't know what that means later.
Feel like I already know who to vote for.
So, yeah, Chet is bland as shit. Like, if he were a real pastry, he'd be made with like Splenda and gluten-free dough and like no eggs. He'd be like the most like annoyingly food sensitivity pastry, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it tastes like a pastry.
I kind of feel like he might be one of those hard-shelled candies where the shell is like super bland and cornstarchy, where you like bite into it and you're kind of like, oh god, what the hell is that? And then there's like nothing inside,
okay.
like really chalky.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
No, that's good too. Yeah.
But yeah, he's such a nothing character, and we've already spent too much time on him. If we never mention Chet again in our entire podcast, he still has had too much airtime.
So we have referenced Steven Universe on the show a bunch of times. Another one of my favorite shows is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
yeah,
In Avatar: The Last Airbender, there is a sequence in which they go to a hidden library, and a giant spiritual owl shows up and chases them out of the library. I don't know if this predates that episode, postdates that episode, but like the point is, library, owl, maybe think of a good TV show. So everybody at home, go and watch the entirety of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'll get back to you.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is incredible. I really liked that. Okay, I'm finally reaching the end of my surge, but I do have some more stuff to talk about with this episode. So let me open.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have a couple of other notes in here.
Yeah. There's some good. I really liked the episode. I thought it was really fun.
So as you're opening your beer, you do this while I'm talking, because this is not an important point. Do you remember? Oh, maybe it's just a logo. But so when Princess Bubblegum is in the audience with all the BMOs and the TI-84s behind it, there's one computer with like kind of like a Picasso lightning bolt split face. That was an old Mac thing, right?
Really?
Wasn't
I
that
don't
like an
know.
old Mac logo or like a? I don't know. I said Mac like really strong like that.
You mean Apple?
Yeah, Apple, Mac. Yeah.
I don't remember Apple having a logo like that. It was always that stupid Apple thing with a bite
See,
taken
I
out
have
of it,
this
the
memory
rainbow
of
apple.
maybe it's not Apple. I have this memory of
You
like
thinking
a
of Zenith?
no, but it's like it's like a face with like a smiley face with like kind of a jagged line down the center. It's two-toned. The audience at home, somebody's going to know what I'm talking about. I thought
don't
I thought I've never used Apple. Like I've always been either Linux or Windows. I've never had an Apple
You're a
thing.
lucky man.
Yeah, no,
A fortunate human.
I
guess
was
should
forced to
say.
use them in college at one point, and I found them incredibly frustrating. Like everything is exactly the way they want it to be, and I'm like, and that's not the way my brain works around
Yeah.
a computer, and it's very annoying.
My first PC at home was a Laser 128, which was an Apple II ripoff.
Oh,
An
yeah.
Apple II clone, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we were too poor to get a real
I got it.
Apple II. But
My first computer was a Commodore 64.
sweet, those were awesome. Commodore 64s were great.
So I have very bad recall of my youth, but here's what I do remember. And sorry
Mm-hmm.
if I've said this on the show before. I know I've said it on the Alex Cast, but
You have really bad recall of the show, too.
yes. LOAD, Shift 2, Shift 3, Shift 2, comma 8, comma 1, Enter, RUN, Enter. That's the command line
To load a...
to load a game from the floppy drive.
Yes.
Now, the reason I say it LOAD is because I memorized that before I knew how to read. And
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, and then Shift 2, I believe, was the quotes mark on the old keyboards.
It was. Yes.
So
Oh, that's so cool.
It's still in my head, like it's almost like a song. Like it's not like that's why I say LOAD. I can't say load. It's like in my head, it's LOAD, like because I didn't know words yet. I just knew the magical sequence of how to get into the computer. All right, so the other thing I wanted to mention about this episode is. Well, really quickly, I love the glasses of Nerdicon.
Yes.
Hilarious. But there is an occult thing in this episode. I don't know if you picked up on it, but the fact you were surprised, I feel like you didn't. He puts on his glasses and goes into the universe.
Oh, yeah. You know, he shrinks.
And he says, everything small is just a small version of something big.
Yeah, it's the Hermetic Axiom.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
It's as above, so below.
Yeah, which is great. I love when there's an occult reference like that, especially when P-Butts is also in the episode. That makes me
Yes.
happy. So Dr. Dextrose also has a scientific parasite. I don't know if you noticed that. Remember
I didn't. I remember you telling me about the scientific parasite because I never knew about those, but I didn't notice him having.
you got to keep your eyes out for the scientific parasite. And for the snail. We never watch for the snail.
You know what I did though? Audience at home, Eric and I both play Slay the Spire.
Mm-hmm.
You may see us play it on Twitch sometime. I totally didn't realize that the slow thing for when you play that one guy that every time you hit him, the giant head, he gets slow. It's a little picture of a snail.
It is.
Never noticed it. I mean, I got a big ass TV. Now I can see stuff better. Yep. So I was like, oh shit. Yeah. I played most of my Slay the Spire on the mobile version, on the Switch while it's out of its dock. So there's a
Right,
lot of
right.
like any fine detail, 100% unaware of.
Okay, yeah. I
Because the
play,
Switch is like 720, I think. Like it's not a good.
Yeah, I only play on the on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but this episode does involve so like the worms I thought were interesting. Like they weren't the dream worms or hypno worms that we saw before. Like they didn't seem to be the worms from the king worm.
Yeah, no, they're just like worms you'd find in an apple. Like
Yeah, but they're
apple
not
ash
like
worm.
Shelby. Shelby's like a worm you find in an apple.
No, Shelby's like an earthworm. Isn't Shelby
Shelby's an
pink?
earthworm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
These are
right,
more like
right.
apple worms. And to
Okay.
be fair, I don't know what an apple worm is. I only know them from cartoons.
Same here. I never found an apple in a worm.
Yeah, that would be actually really difficult. That'd be a big ass worm. That'd be like one of those Mongolian death worms. Now, finding a worm in an apple, that would be a thing.
Anyhow, those surges are strong.
Yeah. Eric's hammered off of
One
an
surge.
8% 12-ounce thing.
Well, I did also have that 1 milligram of THC.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
we're
I might
both
be, I
whacked.
might be just be trashed.
The other thing that has a kind of a cult, at least alternative view of reality thing that comes up in this, and that when realizing that Finn makes this bubble machine that can create fourth dimensional bubbles, it creates a third dimensional shadow, which of course starts a wormhole. He goes on this thing.
Black hole.
Oh, sorry, black hole. Well done. You had worm in my head. Well, to be fair, black holes are kind of
Is
wormhole.
it better to have a worm in your head or your head in a worm?
I mean, it depends. Like, is it like a spice-bearing worm? He did an old mother. So he's like, oh, I know everybody's scared. They've got endorphins and dopamine and serotonin blowing, and even from the pineal gland, DMT is flowing. And it's like, oh boy, there's some fucking people on that staff. They're like they know where the third eye is. They've tried to open chakras before.
Speaking of Steven Universe, Rebecca Sugar was involved in a few of these episodes, I think.
Okay.
So she definitely was one of the writers. I don't know if she was the one on. I just noticed her name in the credits, but I wasn't paying enough attention to see which episode it was. So when Finn has that thing where he puts on the glasses and he goes shrinking into the microverse and stuff, that is the first full view we see of Earth on Adventure Time with the big chunk taken out of it.
Oh, I didn't.
That's the first time.
Did we see the chunk? Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh, I kept thinking. So I was stuck in. I'm a big Simpsons guy from back in the day, the golden years, 1 through 12. There's an opening sequence. There's a couch gag where Homer. Maybe it's not a couch gag, but anyway, they do this sequence where you fall into smaller and smaller, and then bigger and bigger, and then circles back around, and they're back on the couch, much like this. And there was, I forget what it was, but there was another Simpsons reference, either in this episode or the one before it. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because these are all people that are like our age writing the show that grew up with The Simpsons. So they're like foundational texts are starting to reflect on. It
might be a Simpsons reference, but The Simpsons sequence is a reference to something from the 70s.
Oh, I'm sure. But
I read about it. I just can't remember what it is right now.
I'm sure you're right. But it's one of those things where the writers of this show, unless they're 30 years older than I think they are referencing The Simpsons, referencing,
A lot of them are younger than us. Or around our age.
I can't imagine they're much younger.
Well, they might be your age.
Oh, yeah, you're like super old. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm 29 and like feeling good. And Eric's, what are you, like 56 at this point?
112.
I mean, you look fucking great for 112.
Thanks. I'm still younger than Steph Quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, she's an ancient eldritch horror. It's just, She gave up her humanity. She found a golden scarab in the desert, and then
we still love you, Steph.
Eric says that.
Alex is just doing that negging thing. I'm almost certain.
No, I just think it's funny to make fun of people.
So you already mentioned that there were lots of Moes in the audience. The audience was almost entirely Moes. Like, aside from Dr. Dextrose, it was almost all Moes, which was very interesting. Second, Tree Trunks' house shows up in the background of one of the scenes.
Oh, I didn't.
When they're going to Worm College.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
The Tree Trunks' house.
That makes sense.
There.
Apples.
Yeah. Oh, true. Third, this is the last time we see Finn's gold sword. It's destroyed when it goes through the bubble machine, and it turns into a 4-dimensional sword.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a really good point.
And then finally, this is where the hypersphere is supposed to show up. But when Finn blows a 4-dimensional bubble, instead of a hypersphere coming out, a tesseract comes out. And a tesseract is a 4-dimensional cube, not a 4-dimensional sphere.
Yeah.
So even with the nerd glasses, the magic nerd glasses, he still didn't get 4-dimensional geometry correct.
But let us remember this is a magical world, and maybe that's a reference to the Merkaba. Like the kind of spiritual geometry.
It could be.
Yeah, because that's like this weird 4th-dimensional shape that's like the foundational like marker of the universe where all the platonic solids are derived from.
But he said it was going to be a 4-dimensional bubble.
Yeah, but what is a bubble? Our entire universe is a bubble.
A bubble is a sphere.
Yeah, but our universe is a sphere.
How do we know that? We don't know that.
How do you know what a 4th-dimensional object looks like?
Our universe might be a toroid.
Yeah, but you're staring at a 2-dimensional representation of a 3rd-dimensional object.
I'm just saying,
eyeballs.
It should have been a 4-dimensional sphere. It should have been a hypersphere.
What does a 4-dimensional sphere look like?
I can't see it in 4
exactly.
dimensions.
So maybe that's what it looks like to us.
That's what a 4-dimensional cube looks like.
How would you know?
Well, we have illustrations of what a 4-dimensional sphere might look like.
Yeah,
in fact,
2D illustrations made by people that can only see in 3D. Bullshit.
There will be a link.
This is horseshit.
There will be a link in the show notes.
I'm gonna take like a horse's example of like, oh yeah, that's what fucking TV looks like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I say, good sir, nay. The last episode,
Guardians of Sunshine.
This
is it. I don't like this episode very much.
Rarely will you hear me say this. This might be the only time. Now there's other ones, but few and far between. I've loathed to dislike a BMO heavy episode. And this episode is not good. It's not actively terrible, but like I have no desire to watch it.
In BMO's defense, BMO is just part of the frame story of this episode and not, a main character.
Yeah, like an inner space. You're not considering like the guy they're in as the character. They're inside of the space.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid, aren't they? Inside
Are they in Dennis Quaid? I couldn't remember if Dennis Quaid was the guy or he was the guy in the submarine or whatever.
Because isn't it Martin Short? Or
Oh,
Rick
I don't know.
Moranis? I don't know. It's one of those people who shrinks.
I was trying to remember
Ant-Man?
the name of that school bus and I couldn't think of it, so I just bailed and said inner space. Isn't there like a shrinking school bus that
Like the Magic School Bus?
Is it? Yeah, doesn't that like shrink and go into things?
Dude, I'm not that young. I never watched the Magic School Bus. I just know that it exists.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that the lady looks like River Song.
Oh. Yeah. So this episode is just kind of blah.
Yep. It's got a dumb song that I don't like, but at least it sort of sounds like BMO, like Devo. BMO gets hurt, which I don't like.
I don't like BMO getting hurt.
Okay. There's one good thing in this episode. The whole episode happens, and I think we're just admitting we're not going to go through all of it.
Uh-huh.
The end of the episode, the computer that they're stuck in, they escape, and the bad guys are like, "No, man, we're out in the sun. That's all we ever wanted, and to kill that computer that's been sitting us all those years." And that actually made me laugh. It was like, wow, yeah, from their perspective, this is like an unending horror that was perpetrated by Devo.
Yeah. Or the original Mo.
Yes.
Because that's the only way those monsters could have gotten hidden in there. And I don't understand. This is a thing that just doesn't fit into BMO's story. It doesn't fit into the BMO arc. It doesn't fit into the origin story that we get for BMO later. Like, why are there monsters trapped inside of BMO? And what? Like, how did they get troned in there?
So I wonder if they got troned in there or they got like anti-troned out of there. That they were programmed like they're just a regular ass computer game.
And they got anti-tron.
And then because they're now in the magical world of Ooh, where magic is everything, when Finn and Jake, a magical dog and the last human, get into there, thus the magic allows the portal to open through BMO to allow them into the real world. Like, I
feel like that's good headcanon.
I mean, either way, it's not a good episode.
Yeah. It's just not a good episode. But I do have two pieces of trivia.
Yeah, please.
The first is when we get the zoom in of computer Finn and we look at his leg and it's all the binary code.
Yes.
It says two things. It says Finn's leg, and then it says "Hello World," which is fun.
I'm pretty sure it says 1 and 0.
Right, but it's binary code.
Yeah, I'm non-binary.
That was an ugh of disgust at Alex's humor, not an ugh of disgust at non-binary people.
Sure.
Oh, and the second piece of trivia is that the episode when they are in the computer game, they use sound effects from Mega Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. I played a lot of Mega Man in my life. I just had an idea for the LGBTQ TIA, the whole
LGBTQIA plus.
I paused midway because I'm like, oh shit, I think I'm going to forget one. And then I had stage fright and fucked the whole thing up. But because they're non-binary, right? They should, that whole thing, because it already has Q as the thing, quantum. So it's the quantum, because it's non-binary, like quantum computers. So anything on the whole spectrum of the non-binary spectrum, quantum.
Well, here's the problem.
Or quanta. Or Qantas, like the airline.
Except that quantum has such a weird meaning. It's basically like the smallest possible non-divisible unit. That's a quantum.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it from that way, that's probably not like the best.
Yeah.
I was more thinking from the, computer. This is the next evolution away from like the binary way of
right,
thinking.
Because we keep talking about quantum computers. The quantum
Yeah.
computers use qubits, which are literally bits based on quantum.
Oh, perfect. We'll call them Q-berts. I got it solved. I know there's nothing to solve. I just I struggle to remember all the letters, and then I feel bad. So I'm just pitching things. I love all of you, my queer brethren.
Me too.
As a like vaguely gray asexual type, I'm there with you. I just I'm old, so I don't want to join your ranks. That sounded bad. I'm gonna cut most of this. Okay.
Yeah, it's not because you're old.
No, it is.
No, it is because you're old.
It is because I've said this before that if I were 15 years younger, I believe that I would be embracing the kind of asexual gray ace demisexual thing. But I'm so dead entrenched in this gross, like he, him, ugh, that like, what am I get? I'm 42 and I'm going to go by they. I mean, I'm not anybody that does that. If you're 50 something, 60, 80, whatever, and you break out of the chains, good for you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm dragged down by the Catholic guilt and miasma of my youth. That like, it's hard for me to break out. So, you should all feel bad for me and give me money.
I feel like that's how it's always supposed to go, right?
Perfect. Oh, hey, speaking about giving money.
Uh-huh.
This is actually going somewhere real.
Wait, do I owe you money?
No.
I might.
So, June 6th, which I think this episode will be out by then. If not,
That's 6/6.
yes, is the 10-year anniversary of Periphery, the novel I wrote.
Everybody should buy a copy.
Yes. And I'm not saying this like as a, like, this is going to be an incredibly emotional thing. I've struggled mightily, mental health wise in the past decade. And, that book was really important and it didn't get the audience it deserved. So
I agree.
if you're out there and you haven't read it, please do. And if you're out there and just want to be nice, leave me a 5-star review on Amazon. It like honestly helps a lot. It makes me feel like I didn't waste my life thinking I could be a writer. There's like a whole bunch. I'm not trying to guilt you into it. If you don't feel like doing it, cool. I'm right there with you. I'm just saying if you're like a person with like, you got like empathy for me, you're like, oh man, that Alex guy. Like,
You
I'm
should
like,
do it.
yeah,
You should do it, audience. That's our call to action this episode.
yeah, please. Cause, man, I don't think I have the kind of, emotional, skills to deal with 10 years since that book came out. Like that gives me like regular panic,
Uh-huh.
existential panic, and then some like deeper third level panic that I don't have a word for.
Oh, the secret panic.
The secret panic, like a Mondegreen panic.
Yeah, the Mondegreen panic.
Yes.
You don't want the secret panic.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Like Panic at the Disco. That would be a Mondegreen. So yes, it is called Periphery by Alex Bollen, ALEXXBOLLEN. I will try to remember to leave a link in the show notes, but I remembered that exactly once so far. So, fingers crossed.
Well, you know what? That helps me figure out what our final segment is going to be.
Oh, we have another one. Okay.
Yeah, one last segment. We're going to do the what the hell are you watching right now segment.
Oh, I have an easy one.
Okay.
I am for embarrassingly,
Uh-huh.
and I think our younger audience will understand this in my my neurodivergent kind of way of approaching the world. I comfort watch the same things over and over again, and I think I'm on my 4th rewatching of House MD with you, Lori,
Really?
which I was telling you about that you should watch because I really think you'd like
I'm not going to.
it. It's Sherlock Holmes, but with medicine.
Right. I've explained this to you before, I'm certain, but the first time I tried to watch House MD, it was the first time that I'd seen Hugh Laurie with an American accent, and it
Yeah.
threw me off so much that it just poisoned me on the whole series. Like, it's very
Gotcha.
difficult for me to watch, but I can watch Hugh Laurie doing American accents and other things now.
No, I got you. I
I
would just say get over yourself. It's a great show.
Yeah,
but
I'm-
I'm rewatching it again. It is great. I just got to no spoilers for Eric because I want him to watch it. But
No,
I got to the
person gets sick and House figures it out.
no, because there actually is like a through story through the whole
Oh.
thing. The Cal Penn season was, oh boy, it's so good. Even watching it again, it's like what a brilliant way to approach that. Not giving it away because I hope you watch it. But yeah, I'm rewatching House MD. Oh, and we just watched for John Alex Hate Stuff to plug the other show. We watched a Japanese movie called One Cut of the Dead, which
Oh.
I really, really recommend. It's without giving too much away because it's one of those movies that the less you know about it going in, it makes it so much better. Not that I've watched it not going in. I was unspoiled, and it's beautiful. So ostensibly, it's about in Japan, a low budget filmmaker is making a zombie movie, and then real zombies attack. No, great idea, but it's so much deeper. There's so much more. It's so fun. It's just like
That
this
sounds amazing.
kind of fun comedy thing. So I recommend it wholeheartedly. It's on Amazon Prime and Shudder. I'm sure you can get it other places. But anyway, One Cut of the Dead, really great.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
All right. When talking about rewatching things over and over again, I've seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer like a zillion times.
Same.
And
That is
and
one
I
of my
do-
rewatches.
Adventure Time is one of my comfort watches.
Yeah.
So I'm currently watching season 8, which is actually not a comfort watch. It is a disturbing season with a lot of difficult stuff in it. So I'm kind of like watching it and I'm kind of like, oh God, I should watch the next one. Maybe it'll get better. Oh God. But two new things that I've watched. I recently watched the latest season of The Dragon Prince called The Mystery of Aravos.
Not my favorite season, but love that show.
Yeah, great show, but not my favorite season. But it was good.
Fine. Totally fine. Just wasn't, like, I think that last season was so fucking good, the way they wrapped it up, and I'm glad they got more episodes, but anyway.
They're apparently going to do 7 seasons total on it, and that's going to be...
I will watch every single one.
Me too. The other thing I watched recently was Witcher Blood Origin.
I've not watched that at all. Yeah.
You're fine. You don't need to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's...
Isn't there someone good in that as like one of the
Michelle
leads?
Yeoh's
Michelle Yeoh, that's it. Yeah,
and she's incredible in it. Yeah. But
Yeoh or you? Who cares? It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to them, but like I don't know off the top of my head.
Just as an example, there is a character in there. So there's this whole sort of one of the things is like these 7 heroes get assembled. One of the heroes shows up, and he's like, he introduces himself as like, my name's blah 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 blah, but they call me Brother Death. And then he has these lines that are things like somebody asks him, he fights with these big cleaver swords, and somebody asks him like, how good are you with those cleavers? He's like, too good. And then he has another line where he's like, I thought I was done with the killing, but it turns out the killing wasn't done with me.
Okay, yeah, it's fucking awful. Got it.
Like
got
there's
it.
just some of the dialogue is so banal and so tropish that I winced. They even have a line in there where somebody says to them literally, come with me if you want to live. And I'm like, if this seemed like it was a reference to, what's that, Terminator? That's Terminator 2, wasn't it?
Terminator 2, yeah.
Yeah. If it seemed at all like it could be a reference to Terminator 2, that would be so good. But why would that be in a Witcher show? And it was just so much bad dialogue. There were romances that bloomed between characters that made no sense, where you're kind of like, where did this come from? This is just like right out of nowhere. Doesn't make any sense. There were, they spent a long time sort of, they like tried to build sympathy for one character. Oh, okay. Yeah. It was bad. Bad. Do not watch.
Yeah. So yes, thank you very much for joining us. I'm glad that I don't have to watch that Witcher show because I was curious and now I saved myself the time.
Buy Periphery.
Yes, buy Periphery. That'd be great. The link should be in the show notes.
Yes.
That's definitely on alexbaldwin.com. There's a link to it. If you don't, leave a review on Amazon would be great, or Goodreads or wherever you want. Like a good review. Like don't leave like a bad one, because like that would make me feel sad, because people did that because they got mad at me from the Alex cast. And somebody went through and rated everything I have available as 3 stars, which 3 stars isn't terrible, but like I know that person really liked the books, but they got mad at me and went back and like,
what an asshole.
Yeah, it was really like
very
sad.
Petty, very
so
petty.
Anyway, there it is. Periphery would be great. Follow us on all sorts of social media, mostly Twitter,
Twitch, TikTok.
Twitch, TikTok. We have 2 videos now. So
yeah, and we are WizBiz Podcast everywhere.
Yeah, we're actively trying to move on to TikTok a little bit. So that would be a good thing to follow now, because we'll actually have some stuff. Anyway, yes, thank you for joining us. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen, meine Champions. Mwah. Mwah.